Welcome to part second of the video titled KPMG Hedge Accounting Disclosures. The globe is having many companies. Example, you have Amazon, you have Google, you have Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Accenture, Sapient, Cognizant, many big companies we have in the world. But there is one unique phenomena. I repeat, one unique phenomena which we have in all companies, and no one can deny this phenomena is that all big companies only have three forms of hedging, which is cash flow hedging, fair value hedging, and net investment hedging. I repeat, cash flow hedging, fair value hedging, and net investment hedging. Now, let's take an example of Amazon, the largest company in the world as we speak. Most importantly, the company who is into a business of many things, like as we speak, Amazon having their own stores in United States. They have a huge online based e-commerce business. They are into the world of technology, Amazon Web Service. They are into the world of, the cloud computing, one of the finest name in the world of cloud computing. And they are into the world of space, Blue Origin, and many such businesses which they are up to. Apparently speaking, this company earns near about $300 billion in a year. $300 billion. Now, when we speak about cash flow hedging from Amazon angle, then Amazon is getting currency, the payments in all currencies. So, example, Amazon India, whatever business they are doing, they are getting money in INR, while Amazon US is getting money in US dollar. Amazon Europe is getting money in multiple currency, GBP, Euro, Swedish Krona, Danish Krona, HKK, and multiple currency. But that doesn't mean that India is always getting in INR. That is not a guarantee. So let's take a simplistic example, the t-shirt which I'm wearing. Okay. Although this t-shirt is from Singapore, but I'm giving an example of Amazon India. So Amazon India is selling this t-shirt, but they scouted and they got to know there is a vendor from Singapore who is selling this t-shirt. And this t-shirt is in great demand. So what Amazon did, they wanted to have this t-shirt on their portal so that people come and buy this t-shirt. Now what happens? Amazon contacted that Singapore person and he's saying, guys, I'm willing to give you this t-shirt. I have no problems. But having said that, I would be giving you in Singapore dollar because I am making this t-shirt in Singapore dollar. In Singapore, my manufacturing facility is in Singapore. Basically, the guy, who is selling that t-shirt. And you have to invoice me. I would be invoicing you. It means the seller, the t-shirt maker, would be invoicing Amazon in Singapore dollar. So Amazon India, who is getting that t-shirt and listing on their portal, and then Amazon India customers will get that t-shirt. Amazon India would be paying them in Singapore dollar, that vendor. But Amazon India is selling that t-shirt in INR. Suppose that person is selling this t-shirt in 100 Singapore dollars to Amazon India, 100 Singapore dollars. Now, as we speak, one Singapore dollar is near about 50 rupees, which means in INR terms, it is 5,000 rupees. Assuming Amazon is keeping a margin of 500 rupees, 10%, it's all hypothetical example. And total they are giving is they are selling to their customers at 5,500. But when they would pay back to the vendor, suppose the payment to terms, which means that the payment to terms means how many days after the invoice Amazon needs to pay. Suppose the payment to term is 30 days. And after 30 days, Singapore dollar goes 55, which means they need to pay 100 Singapore dollar back to that vendor. Now Singapore dollar is 55. Now what does that mean? It means that Amazon needs to buy Singapore dollar. Amazon India needs to buy Singapore dollar. And if Amazon India do not have a proper hedging program, which means that they are getting this t-shirt from some vendor in Singapore, probably they are getting some electric equipments from LG from Korea, which they are selling in India in Indian rupees. Suppose they are getting some computers from Microsoft, which they are getting in dollars, but they are selling in India in INR, and all such variety of examples. Because if you open Amazon India website, you would get to know they are selling the Microsoft computers, washing machine, dishwashers, everything. But that doesn't mean that everything is sourced in India. That's incorrect. That doesn't mean everything is sourced in India. There are few things which are outsourced from or which are procured outside India in foreign currency. So they are payable in foreign currency, but they are selling in India. That's the main bloody point. And here is the risk of profitability margins of Amazon India. By the way, e-commerce is already a very cutthroat business competition, very cutthroat. The level of margins are extremely low. In many cases, it is negative. Like we have seen example of Paytm, Flipkart, we have seen example of Quicker, and many example we have seen regarding the cutthroat competition. Don't speak about Flipkart. Amazon India Treasury needs to have a complete hedging program in place to cover that t-shirt manufacturer, probably the washing machines they are getting from LG Korea, probably the computers they are getting from Microsoft US, or maybe some books they are getting from the publishers outside India, and all such variety of examples. That hedging program should be competent enough. I repeat, that hedging program should be competent enough so that they would be able to withstand against the currency volatility. Now, we are in 2022. Effective 2020, the world saw Corona, officially speaking, and we have seen a huge volatility. I would say we have seen a huge volatility in the currency market. Even today, as we speak, we are having volatility in GBP, we are having volatility in Euro, Japanese yen, Singapore dollar, Swiss franc, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, almost all top currency. So let me give a simplistic example. If Amazon India is having is Amazon India is facing a vendor who actually billing them in GBP, but Amazon India is selling that product in INR, And we have seen the huge volatility in GBP dollar. GBP dollar was 1.40, then 1.32, now 1.36, now again coming down. This level of volatility can easily dent the Amazon India profitability margins. Easily dent. Not only profitability margins, rather it can dent or it can make the product which they are selling into losses. Not because of the pricing they are offering, that is separate, the cutthroat competition, that is completely separate, but because of the currency movements. I repeat, because of the currency movements, Amazon India could end up in losses as far as this product is concerned. To cover that, currency movements in such a way that they would be able to withstand and make and remains profitable, they need cash flow hedging program. And that cash flow hedging program is possible either in the deliverable market or in the non-deliverable market. I'm not entering detail in this part of the video. Probably in the part 3 I would be covering. This is the crux, or this is the base on which Amazon India is standing. Because Amazon India profitability is dependent on the currency movement. And that currency movement needs to be hedged very carefully. So that is something Amazon India needs to understand very, very clearly. And this, by the way, is known as cash flow hedging program. See you in the part 3 of the video. Welcome to part 3 of the video titled KPMG Hedge Accounting Disclosures. I repeat, welcome to part 3 of the video. So in cash flow hedging, I have given you an example of Amazon India. The same example valid Apple India also. The same example valid Google India also. I'm not covering IT companies because IT companies example is highly complicated in this regards, because rather I would say when it comes to IT companies, if I leave the top 4 companies aside, which is Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Apple, then IT company example is complicated. But if I take these 4 companies also into the picture, then IT company's example is not complicated. But let's take an example of, one IT company, and then we take this forward. Suppose we take an example of, any ITES company. ITES means Information Technology Enabled Services. Now, ITES model in India is of 2 types. Number one who is dependent on intercompany. Number 2, who is not dependent on intercompany. Rather, it is a direct or group company model. So let's take an example. Tata Consultancy Services is based out in India, principally based out in India, but that's a separate thing that they have a subsidiaries worldwide. They are doing business in Europe. They are doing business in different parts of the globe, multiple subsidiaries. Almost similar is the scenario of Wipro SCL Technologies, and Infosys. So all four IT companies have a similar scenario. These all IT companies, whether they are Infosys, TCS, HCL, and Wipro, they have their ITES domain also. By ITES, we means business processing outsourcing. Now, business processing outsourcing. Now, from where the BPO or ITES domain is getting the business? The BPO is getting business directly from the customer. So, example, there is a customer who wanted to do business, they will directly contact TCS. They don't want IT services. They don't want coding. They don't want software development. They want their process to be run efficiently by TCS. Now that's a direct, that directly he is communicating to TCS ITES services. Probably if TCS, the Tata Group, needs to handle some process, they will give this to their own company, TCS, which is called intercompany model. This is a direct model. One is indirect model, which is Accenture, Cognizant, Sapient, EXL, and many such companies who are predominantly based in India. Basically, they have one setup in India, but their main principle is outside India. So Sapient is principally non-Indian company. Accenture is non-Indian company. Cognizant is non-Indian company. And all such, EXL, which is an American company, however based out, also have a subsidiary in India. Now, when a client comes, suppose there is a client called Maruti. It's a hypothetical example. And Maruti wanted to have their car insurance. It's again a hypothetical example. Maruti wanted to have their car insurance business handled by Accenture India. Accenture India is okay. We are fine to handle this. We have our ITES domain. They would be handling this, no problem. But the contract is signed by Accenture US, not by Accenture India. The billing is done by Maruti India to Accenture US, but the cost is in the books of Accenture in India. So I repeat, Maruti want their car insurance business to be handled properly by Accenture India. But the contract they are signing with Accenture US. Accenture US in turn is signing an intercompany contract with Accenture India. So the flow is like a triangle. Maruti India to Accenture US and to Accenture India. This intercompany movement, I repeat, this intercompany movement to be hedged using cash flow hedge. So intercompany is a very good thing. Now let's take an example of KPMG. Now guys, let's go to page number 8 of the KPMG derivative manual. A hedge of the exposure to variability in the future cash flows of a recognized asset or liability or of a forecasted transaction that is attributable to a particular risk. I repeat, cash flow hedge example is a hedge of the exposure to variability in future cash flows of a recognized asset or liability or a forecasted transaction that is attributable to a particular risk. Page number 8, KPMG. Guys, in page number 8, KPMG, Did you got to know about the intercompany exposure? Did you got to know? No. But Accenture India is intercompany. Sapient India is intercompany. Cognizant India is intercompany. EXL India is intercompany. Many such examples. Many such examples we have. And one critical thing which I not discussed, because this is very technical thing I cannot discuss and subject to consultancy, is what percentage of intercompany. Probably I'm not explaining in detail, probably just giving you a hint. Cognizant India might be 50%, Sapient might be 40%, Accenture might be 60%, EXL might be 30%. All differs because of a fundamental concept. I repeat, because of a fundamental concept called exposure. Rather, precisely speaking, intercompany exposure. And that exposure which we need to learn. That's very important thing. That exposure which we need to learn. But have you seen the definition of intercompany which I said here? No. But this is KPMG. This is KPMG. Whereby in 2022, when practically speaking, we are on our intercompany business model. I am telling you, I haven't raised a more pertinent point, which I might be raising in a separate video called permanent establishment structures. That is completely separate business model. Permanent establishment structures. Now, this business model is extremely difficult to understand, competitive, and subject to complexities. Permanent establishment structures. So, a cash flow hedging program of Amazon India is completely different. Then we have a cash flow hedging program of TCS India. On the contrary, the cash flow hedging program of Cognizant India is different. Apparently, it looks similar to Sapient India, probably EXL India, but fundamentally speaking, it differs. While the cash flow hedging programs of permanent establishment structures, I repeat, permanent establishment structures of top tier software companies, all top tier manufacturing companies, is more complex, complicated, subject to interpretation issues than I mentioned above. This is only cash flow hedging program, which we are deliberating, by the way. But if you look at this, and I again repeat, please see what it is mentioned, KPMG. If you look at this, you will never realize what I'm talking about. And this is the Big Four capability. This is the Big Four capability. This is the capability which the majority of the world is not aware about. Because when we print these books, rather guides, which are widely available on their website, on the Google, you will feel that it is correct. And these manuals are used worldwide. I repeat, these manuals are used worldwide for hedge accounting. We would be deliberating more about hedge accounting. But what's an unfortunate reality? The unfortunate reality is we are way before than the practical exposure. So I again challenge KPMG. I again challenge KPMG. And if they feel that they are competent enough, I repeat, if they feel they are competent enough to answer the queries, I'm right here. And by the way, I would be having more videos covering Big Fours on the YouTube channel. See you in the next part. Have a great time ahead.